Today I would like to talk to you about a revolutionary idea that is gaining momentum within our country, the legalization of drugs. It is time that we give up on this lost drug war and move on to a more modern way of dealing with recreational drug use. My name is Charles Stone, and I would like to talk to you about some pros of the legalization of drugs. Those are increased tax revenue, reduction in drug-related crime, relief on our prison system, and stopping illegal drug money from finding its way into the hands of terrorists. Let's get started by talking about tax revenue. It is estimated that the U.S. drug market is worth $60 billion. Of this, only 5% is the production cost. The other 95%, or $57 billion, finds itself into the hands of illegal drug entrepreneurs. They're able to do this because the current laws scare most wise businessmen out of the market, therefore leaving a very low supply of the product and causing the prices to be very high. We could funnel this 95% of profit into community projects in the form of tax revenue. Simply, we would tax the now legalized drugs at a rate equivalent to the difference between the black market value and the 5% production costs. Now that we've talked about tax revenue, let's move on to talk about reduced drug-related crimes. Drug crimes stem from the fact that drugs are illegal. Distributors are forced to use violent methods to control the supply and demand of their product. In 2006, 14,990 people were murdered in drug-related homicides. If drugs were made legal, distributors would no longer need to use violent methods to control their supply and demand. They would simply use free market and trade concepts. If they want to put their competitor out of business, they lower their prices or offer a product that is much better than their competitors. Instead of what they're doing these days is just shooting the competitor. The other way that drug-related crime would go down is that now that the police force doesn't have to spend so much time enforcing ridiculous drug laws, they can focus more on the violent crimes that plague our inner cities. Now that we've talked about the reduction of drug-related crime, let's move on to the relief on the prison system. The U.S. currently houses 2.3 million people behind bars. We are leading the world in the amount of people that we keep incarcerated. 1 out of every 100 Americans is currently serving time. Of these 2.3 million prisoners, approximately half of them are nonviolent drug offenders. 1.15 million people. At a cost of $67.55 per prisoner per day, that comes out to $77 million per day, or $28 billion a year. That's enough money to fund the Ivy League education of 700,000 college students. Now that we've talked about the monetary cost, let's move on to talk about the human cost. Afghanistan is the world's breadbasket for the production of heroin. In 2008, 90% of the world's heroin was produced in Afghanistan. Most of these proceeds went to fund enemy activity. The U.S. lost 2,974 of its citizens on September 11, 2001. Since then, the Iraqi war has claimed 4,294 soldiers, and the Afghanistan operations have claimed 683 soldiers. And this doesn't even begin to tell of the civilians that have been killed in these conflicts. Taking control of the illegal drug market would bring Al-Qaeda to its knees and save countless of American lives. Now that we've talked about the human cost, let's move on to review. By simply legalizing drugs, we could raise $57 billion in tax revenue. We could reduce the 15,000 drug-related homicides, save enough money in our prison system to fund the Ivy League education of 700,000 college students, and bring our enemy to its knees. It's time that we band together and send a message to our leaders that says we are tired of outdated policies that just don't work. Thank you.